Most of us are not in the habit of expressing gratitude or feeling grateful for what we have. I mean, we're so busy dealing with the problems, the frustrations in our life and the things that aren't going right, that it seems we don't have time to think about the good things, the things we should be grateful for. And of course, if you switch on the news, well, that's certainly not going to make you feel grateful. Hi, I'm Liam Naden, and welcome to my podcast, Let Yourself Off the Hook. As someone who has studied success for decades, I have found the formula for achieving your dreams and goals, and it's all to do with how you use your brain. Each week on my show, I will provide you with the tools, resources, and expertise to utilize your brain to its ultimate potential and remove the barriers to your success. And as you'll discover, true success in every area of your life only comes when you let yourself off the hook. How often do you stop and say to yourself, I'm so grateful for what I have in my life? And how often do you feel grateful for what you have in your life as well? For most of us, if we're really honest, the answer to those questions is not very often. Most of us are not in the habit of expressing gratitude or feeling grateful for what we have. I mean, we're so busy dealing with the problems, the frustrations in our life and the things that aren't going right, that it seems we don't have time to think about the good things, the things we should be grateful for. And of course, if you switch on the news, well, that's certainly not going to make you feel grateful. Now, when you really think about this, when you think about why we're not grateful more often, it's actually rather strange, isn't it? Because the reality is, all of us have a lot to be grateful for. And if we really stop and examine our life, we'd have to admit there's a lot more going right in our life than there's going wrong. And of course, we've got problems. Of course, not everything is going right. But if you really think in the context of our life, where we are right now, we really live in the best time in history. We have more to be grateful for, more good things in our life than at any other time through human history. So in this episode, I want to share a few things, a few insights about this thing called gratitude. What gratitude really is, what it does to your brain, what it does to your life, and how you can use it to make measurable and meaningful improvements to your life. The second thing we're going to talk about is why we don't feel gratitude more often. And it's not what you think. There's actually a reason why we tend to focus more on the negative rather than the positive in our life, and it's not our fault. It simply comes from using the brain in a particular way, or creating the habit of using the brain in a particular way that makes that happen. And the third thing we're going to look at in this episode are some simple, effective, and powerful ways to make gratitude a much more important and regular part of our life. We're going to look at ways where we can make gratitude a part of our life even when things aren't going well. And you might think, well, that's not that easy to do for my situation with all the problems I'm facing, but it actually can be, and that's what we're going to look at. So let's start with thinking about what gratitude actually is. And it's really important to clarify this because it's actually something very specific. However, although it's specific, there's a problem in that, like love, gratitude is actually something that's impossible to define because it's a feeling, it's a knowing that's literally beyond words. And like love, it's something that we can never understand, but we can know. We know it when we feel it. We know it when it's happening. And that's the important thing to realize about gratitude, which I'm sure is pretty obvious, is that it's a feeling. It's a sense of feeling good. We feel the surge of happiness, of awareness, of release, of expansion, of power when we feel grateful. And it's actually this emotion, this feeling of true happiness perhaps, that's what makes gratitude so powerful. And that's because these good feelings activate a part of our nervous system which activates a particular part of our brain, our creative brain. And you'll recall from previous episodes, or if you've followed any of my other work, you'll recall that it's our creative brain that is the source of true power in our lives. It's the part of our brain that knows all of the answers to our problems, and it knows how to get us to where we want to go. It knows what you need to be the best version of yourself, which is your biological purpose. It's the source of all your intuition, your wisdom, your new and creative ideas, the solutions to problems. This is all in the creative brain. And when you're using your creative brain, you don't just know what to do, you actually do it. You get into a natural flow of life where you take the right actions at the right time. But think about what happens to you mentally and emotionally when you're focusing on your problems. What's literally going on, it takes you out of the natural flow of life because you're feeling stressed and frustrated and trying to force things to happen. And force is not natural. And everything seems difficult, and it is difficult because in this emotional and mental state, when you're feeling stressed, worried and anxious, you're going to stay confused. You're going to stay stuck with your problems. Because what you're really doing is you're using your brain to work against you rather than with you. So it's vital to understand that when we feel good, including when we feel grateful, we activate this creative part of our brain, which is our problem-solving success machine. And when we feel negative emotions such as stress, fear, anxiety, and lack of gratitude, that's when we shut down this part of our brain. And we activate another part of the brain called the survival brain, which is much more limited in what it can do for you. In fact, this part of the brain, the survival part of the brain, rather than solve problems, it actually creates problems for you in your life. Now, I've covered all of this about the brain and how it works in the creative brain and the survival brain in previous episodes in more detail, so you might want to have a listen to those. But I'm sure you can see the result here. And to drive home this point, here's a question for you. If you're trying to solve a problem in your life, or trying to reach a goal, or simply trying to create the best life possible, how useful and important do you think imagination, creativity, awareness, intuition, motivation, seeing opportunities, seeing the right solutions to the problems, how important do you think those things are? And on the other hand, if you were trying to manage your life without those things, how far do you think you'd get? In other words, if you were trying to make things work in your life when you felt confused, you didn't know what to do, you were afraid that you were going to make a mistake, and everything was happening with struggle, stress, confusion and problems along the way, and with no certainty that you were going to get there, how quickly do you think you're going to solve problems in that state? You're never going to solve your problems in that state, are you? So this is the importance of feeling good, of feeling gratitude. Feeling gratitude, it's not just a nice idea. It's a biological necessity for your brain to do its job to ensure that you survive by making you the best that you can be, having the easiest, most enjoyable, most fulfilling life possible. So now that we know the importance or the necessity of feeling gratitude in our life on a biological level, the question becomes, why don't I feel gratitude more often? Why do we focus on the negative in our life rather than the positive? Why is it that we say things to ourselves like, well, if I can just reach this goal, if I can just solve this problem, then I'll feel happy, then I'll feel grateful. But in the meantime, I'm just going to carry on working and struggling with this problem so that I solve it, so that then I can be happy. It's strange, isn't it, when you think about it, that we all want to feel more grateful about our life. We all want to feel happy. But it feels like sometimes, often, that we simply can't. And the real reason for this, the real reason why we don't feel gratitude more often, why we don't feel good more often, it's nothing to do with our willpower. It's not that we don't want to. It's just that we have never created a mental habit of feeling grateful. We've spent most of our life training our brain to focus on the negative, to focus on the problems, to try and find solutions, to struggle. And of course, this comes from the belief we've been given all our life that the way to solve problems is to focus on them, not realizing all of the things I've been talking about, which is the way to solve problems is to focus on the solutions and allow, not force, but allow the problems to solve themselves. Think about a challenge that you're facing in your life right now. Maybe it's financial, maybe it's in your business or your career, maybe it's something personal in your relationship, maybe with your spouse or your partner, perhaps one of your children. But what's really going on when you're dealing with this problem? Isn't it true that you're feeling stressed, worried, anxious? You're saying things to yourself like, I wish I didn't have this problem. My life would be so much better if I didn't. I wish I could find a solution. I'm trying really hard, but I just can't find the answer. I just need to keep working and focusing on this problem, and I will succeed in the end. But all that's doing is keeping you feeling frustrated and not feeling good. It's difficult to feel grateful when you're in that state, isn't it? If not impossible. But can you see that this is really just a habit? Focusing on the problem. All these thoughts about, I'll be happy when I solve it. I wish I didn't have it in my life. They're just habits, aren't they? And they're all habitual thoughts that don't make you feel good. But what if you're in the habit of thinking and focusing on the good things in your life, the things you enjoyed, the things that were going right, the things that you could be grateful for? What if you were to say to yourself, instead of those thoughts like, my life is incredible. I'm so grateful. There are so many amazing things going on in my life right now. I'm so lucky to be in the world that I live in right now. It's incredible, this world and what's going on around me and for me. And yes, there are some challenges, but what a gift they are. What an opportunity they give me to be a better person, to learn new things, and to really experience life on a better level. Even including the challenges I'm facing, my life is incredible. In fact, I'm one of the luckiest people on the planet. Now, if you think thoughts like that, isn't it going to make you feel completely different? It's going to make you feel much better, isn't it? And remember, when you feel better, when you feel good, you activate your creative brain. And what happens then? You begin to see new opportunities, new solutions to your problems, the ones that exist. You get a new perspective, new insights, new awarenesses. An awareness that all of the good things in your life, the things that you could be grateful for, they've always been there. It's just that your brain, the way that you've been using it, hasn't allowed you to see that. So we know that feeling grateful is vital because it activates the problem-solving creative part of our brain. And we know now that the reason we don't use it more often is that simply we haven't made it a habit of activating it through our thoughts and the feelings that are created by our negative thoughts. So the next question really is, well, knowing all of this, how can we make gratitude a habit in our life? How can we make it something we do automatically without having to attach willpower and conscious thinking and saying to ourselves, oh, I need to be grateful. Right. Instead of doing that, how can we make it our natural state? Well, of course, the first thing to realize is that feeling good about our life, feeling grateful, creating a habit for doing that is going to take some time. Because what we're doing is we're breaking an old habit, a habit that most of us have had for a lifetime. But here are some ways that we can start to develop that new habit. Firstly, it's really important to begin to develop the skill, and it is a skill, of catching yourself in your thoughts, becoming aware of what you're actually thinking and what effect it is having on how you feel. So whenever you begin to feel a bit stressed or anxious or worried or frustrated, catch yourself and ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? What are the thoughts that are causing me to feel bad? And when you identify what they are, then you can change those thoughts, change those things you're saying to yourself. So, for instance, instead of saying to yourself, why is this happening to me? Why is this in my life? What's going on? What have I done to deserve this? Instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Say to yourself, why is this happening for me? Is there something here that I could learn? Is there an opportunity here? Is there a gift here? Is there something I'm being given in this situation that actually could make me stronger, could make me a better person, could give me something I can learn from that I can use to improve my life? And you will see that there are things. There is a gift in every adversity. Everything about your life has a positive side, and you can look for it, and you can find it. So that's the first thing, is to catch your thoughts, catch your feelings when you start to not feel so good, stressed, worried, and say, what am I thinking, and how can I change my thoughts? How can I ask better questions than the ones I'm asking myself? Another thing you can do, which I find personally really powerful, is to create gratitude rituals. And I call them gratitude rituals because they're things that you can almost formalize, things you can do at a regular time each day and in a particular way that's the same each time. So set aside some time each day where you can ask yourself this question: what are 10 things I could be really grateful for about my life right now? What are 10 things in my life, things that I have, things about me, who I am? What are 10 things that I'm really grateful for, that I should be really grateful for? And mentally, you could even write this down, but at least mentally go through this list and come up with at least 10. One great time to do this is just as you're waking up or just before you're going to sleep, when you're in a semi-awake state. And when you're in that semi-awake state, you actually have a more powerful effect on your subconscious, so that when you ask these questions, what could I be grateful for in my life? The effect is actually magnified. And if you're married or in a relationship, why not do this with your spouse or your partner? First thing in the morning, or last thing at night, or any other time during the day. Say to yourself, say to each other, what could we be really grateful for about our life right now? What are we really grateful for? What's amazing? What's great about our life? And just focus on those things. And again, come up with a list of at least 10. And have a short conversation with your spouse about this as well, and say, what is it? What's great about our life? Let's talk about this. What's incredible? What's exciting? What can we look forward to? What have we achieved or done in the past that was amazing that we could be really grateful for? Build each other up. It's a really powerful way to increase the feelings of gratitude in your life, and therefore increase the activation of your creative brain. And the last idea, and this is so powerful, it's such a simple thing to do when you create it as a habit, but it is so powerful. And that's to get into the habit of saying to yourself and to your spouse, your partner, and people that you love, say these 4 words: I am so lucky. I am so lucky. And with your spouse or your partner, we are so lucky. As a family, with your family, we are so lucky. Now, the more you say these things, the more you feel the sense of gratitude, the more you make gratitude a habit in your life and a major part of your life, you're not only going to feel better, but you're going to see your life shift and change for the better as well. There is nothing more important than feeling good, because when you feel good, your creative brain gets to work. Your creative brain is active and working for you in your life. And developing the habit of feeling gratitude for everything that you have and everything that you are, which is in reality truly amazing, this is one of the most powerful ways to do that. This is Liam Naden signing off. Thanks for watching. But before you go, there's some action to take. Hit the subscribe and like buttons and leave your thoughts in a comment below. I'd love your feedback. And if you have friends who you think would benefit from this, please share it with them. Thanks again for your support, and stay tuned for more from me, Liam Naden. And remember, you can only reach your full potential when you let yourself off the hook.